back to another episode of Paul Talks Patriots on Dog TV. The Patriots just finished their second preseason game against the Eagles last Thursday, and we took the loss 14-13, but there was a lot of positives and a lot of ground made up for some players making that 53-man roster. There's a lot to go over. Stay tuned. All right, well, first of all, our boy Drake May finally got on the field to see some extended playing time, and boy, did he show a lot of promise. Now, I can't say that he had an A-plus performance. It wasn't perfect, but boy, the difference between him and Brissett on the field was crazy. The offense as a whole, in my opinion, just looked a lot better with Drake May on the field. And Brissett got the start. It didn't go too well. Brissett wasn't even going against starters on the Eagles defense. He's going against their backups. And he did poorly. A lot worse than Drake May. The first drive, a 3-and-out, ended by, on the good side, a Bryce Behringer punt that went 63 yards and got pinned at the 2 or 1 yard line. I mean, we're going to need a lot of that this year out of Bryce. So that was promising to see. Really good out of Bryce Behringer. But focusing on the offense, the worst possible way you could start a game, really. It's up there. Second drive, the O-line looked fantastic, and I would try not to use that word fantastic lightly, especially with, you know how my expectations are with the offensive line. I think they're agreeable with most people's, that it's not going to be looking good. Even, believe it or not, Vidarian Lowe looked good. And listen, you guys know I say a lot of bad things about Vidarian Lowe. I don't like to. I really don't. I don't like to make a guy look bad. I try not to make him look like a fool. So when he plays well, I'll point it out. It's just usually he's not playing well. This drive, I was paying attention to him a lot. Played very well. The run game looked great. You got all the way downfield on, I want to say, 8 or so plays, all for Brissett to kill it with an interception. Now, talk about a blue ball. Oh, my God. A great drive, and Brissett has to throw an interception. I mean, he said it after the game. Just take the points. Why are you forcing a throw in the end zone? Just take the 3 points. That's what we're going to need to do this year. We're not going to win our games with offense. We're winning it with defense. Just take the points. We're lucky if we get into the red zone 4 times a game. So take the points when you're there, plain and simple. Third drive, Drake May subs out Jacoby Brissett. And no, it wasn't that pretty to start off. Vidarian Lowe, after doing really good, got a false start. Drive killer. Also, with Drake May, Kayshon Boutte made the best play in NFL history on a flat route. It was crazy, that one-handed snag. I don't care what anyone says. Best catch in NFL history on a flat route. He proved he could make this roster. A lot more than Tyquan Thornton has done. I don't think Tyquan got a catch again. Drake May, anyway, really, he just balled out there. And his stat line wasn't the best. He finished 6 for 11 with 47 yards and that nice rushing touchdown. If you see that line, you're going to be like, he didn't do much. Well, he made a lot of really good decisions. His pocket presence was insane. And also, not to mention, Javon Baker had a couple drops with Drake May on the field, including that dime down the middle of the field. You just can't ask for a better throw from Drake May. And Javon Baker dropped it. I think he's got the yips as of recent. It's been happening in practice, and it happened in the preseason game. Hopefully it's a short-term problem and Javon can fix it. Other than that, Drake, he looked great. Made a lot of short passes. Let his wide receivers make plays. Now, a throw that really impressed me was that in route in the middle of the field, the dig route, to Javon Baker. And did it look pretty simple? Yeah, but Drake went through his progressions, threw a bullet to Javon, and made a nice, I think it was 12-yard completion. He did that in college a lot, and I was excited to see him do it at the NFL level. That's one of the few positives that I saw from Drake when I was watching his film. One of his best attributes was being able to throw in the middle of the field, which is tough to do, and not a lot of college quarterbacks do that on a consistent basis. This is something Drake May is great at, especially out of this draft class compared to other quarterbacks, and something we can get used to seeing out of him. Take it to the second half. Vidarian Lowe lets up a sack on... I don't even know if I could blame it on him. A lot of people were killing him for it. But he's in a good spot, blocking the guy well to the outside, and the running back bumps whoever the end was. I was rushing against Lowe, and Lowe turns his shoulders, and the end just goes right to the inside for an easy sack. Now, I'm not going to blame that completely on Lowe because it looks like if the running back never bumped into the guy, he was there all day. He wasn't going to let up that sack right when he did, at least. But also, Lowe needs to keep his shoulders square and be able to recover from that. So I'm not going to give him all the blame, but also he could have been better on it too and stopped the sack from happening anyway. Like I said, that Javon Baker drop, just what a drive killer. See, these are missed opportunities that we can't afford. We're not going to be able to make big plays downfield too often this year. When you get the chance to do it, you got to execute. Didn't happen there. Drake May, overall, looking forward to watching him again. Hopefully he gets a good amount of playing time, but I don't think he's going to get as much playing time as he did this game. I think most of it goes to Joe Milton and Bailey Zappi. But going forward to Joe Milton, when he got subbed in, didn't do anything really impressive. I can't tell you one highlight play he made. Made a couple of decent plays, but nothing impressive. See, this is the reality of Joe Milton. You watched him last week. Yeah, he's flashy. He runs all over the field. But when he has to dissect a defense and figure out who's going to be open, it's tough for him. And I'm not saying he can't learn that. He has to watch a lot of film. He has to study the game. But right now it's something he's struggling with, and it's something he struggled with in college. So I can't assume he's just going to automatically get better at this. Then you go to Bailey Zappi at the end of the game, and I feel bad for the kid. I really do. I feel bad for Bailey Zappi. You give him a chance, say, hey, Bailey, go win the game for us. All right, yes, coach, sure. You know his mentality. He had it last year. He has some dog in him, I will say. He has some dog in him. Unfortunately, Fornadell, the center, gave him a bad snap, and Zappi mishandled it. I wouldn't even say it's his fault, even though he probably would say it was. And it turned the ball over. The Eagles recovered, end the game. I just can't stress enough how much I feel bad for the guy. I really think he just needs to be traded. I don't know if he will be. There's a good chance he ends up on our practice squad or something, but in my opinion, needs to be traded. Fresh start. Just get him out of New England. His time here is over. But to go back to that snap, Fornadell was not the only one to struggle with snapping. You probably have seen it. The David Andrews' face on the sideline just watching this horrendous play from the centers. You got Maffey out there, you had Leverett out there, you had Fornadell. I believe all three of them had a bad snap. And that's your number one job, obviously, as a center. Just make sure the ball gets into the quarterback's hands. Fornadell probably not making the team, and he probably just really lowered Bailey Zappi's chances, whatever they were before, just lowered them. Staying with the offensive line, a guy that may just be worse than Vadarian Lowe, Antonio Maffey. Now, when I was doing my roster predictions, I had him on a fringe spot to make the team right there. Very well could not. After this preseason, there's just no way this guy makes the team. I mean, he looked terrible. Like I said, screwed up a snap at center. After trying to make him a center, or give him the versatility to play center, he screwed up bad. So they say, okay, let's play you at guard, your normal position, Antonio. And he was just awful. Let up a sack to his inside shoulder, which is the one thing that my coaches harped on me for doing, was never let someone on your inside. It's the worst way to blow up an offensive play. And he did it. This guy is pretty friggin' bad. There's no beating around the bush there. He just is not that good. I don't understand why he started last year, but he did. And now this preseason has really proven why I don't think he should make the team. But as far as that goes, that's all I really have for the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to take a quick commercial break. This is Paul Talks Patriots on Dog TV.
Malo is my French bulldog. He made my heart bigger when he came in my life. He never really liked his food. He wouldn't eat till like 10 o'clock at night. To me, it was saying, oh, I guess I don't want to starve. He was having skin breakouts, and putting the two and two together, what you put into your body is what you get out. I know that if I'm eating a bunch of processed food, I'm not going to feel good. So that kind of led me to Farmer's Dog. Immediately, his skin issues went away. I love what they're doing. It's already portioned out. He's eating whole foods. It's amazing.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
Welcome back to Paul Talks Patriots on Dog TV. Well, let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball. Nothing too surprising. The defense played great against the Eagles, albeit it was against their second and third stringers. But I'm not going to complain about them playing not against the Eagles starters. I can't do that. What I can do is talk about what they did. They played well. They played really well. The defensive line, again, balled out, got pressure on the quarterback the whole game. Their secondary was a little shaky, but the defense in the box was awesome. So I can't complain about that. As far as standouts go, Raekwon McMillan, oh my God, after not playing last week, he was all over the field, making plays on defense, making plays on special teams. I mean, the NFL implemented that new kickoff, which confuses the hell out of me, to be honest, but I just roll with it. he absolutely decapitated a returner, which the NFL probably hated to see, but that was phenomenal. Even on defense, he was lining up at inside linebacker, lining up on the edge and getting good pressure on the quarterback, making plays in the backfield throughout the game. He was probably the player of the game for me, just did a really good job and showed why he is back on our roster for another year. And he will be a contributor. Unfortunately for Christian Ellis, after playing spectacular last week, he really didn't do too much, but I will get to him later in the show. Also, Joshua Bledsoe, after not playing last week, really had a good game. He made that great tackle for loss in the backfield, lowering his shoulder. I believe it was on a screen play to a wide receiver. Just blew up the play right away. Other than that, in coverage, he did let up a catch or two, but not like it was blown coverage. He was right there. Just a great throw by the Eagles. And again, Bledsoe, a guy that contributes a lot on special teams, but also may have a role in our secondary this year. O'Shane Ximenez, again, made a highlight play with his sack. He's a clear winner of the whole preseason already. He's going to be a contributor to our defense. After not really knowing who the guy was when he was playing with the Giants, he's shown up here and shown me that he is a very valuable player to a great defense that the Patriots have. Isaiah Bolden, another guy that he was on IR all of last year actually, but completely outplayed Marcellus Dial, the 6th round pick. Between the two, you got to give Bolden a spot on the roster now. The pass rush, like I said, looked great all game. That D-line is probably solidified, but there are two players that are still fighting for a last spot on the roster, I would say. As far as the coverage, like I said, not the best. Marcellus Dial, who I mentioned, he just let up, I want to say 4 or 5 catches, and it was just not good play. I didn't see him make a lot of good plays to combat the poor plays he made. And the end of the game, let up that 25-yard catch right before the Eagles scored the touchdown, and just not even close in coverage. Then at the goal line, 2-point conversion. His receiver goes in motion. Now, I don't know if it was his responsibility to tell Mikey Victor that the kid was coming in motion, because usually what happens is Mikey Victor would switch mans with Marcellus Dial. Del Pettis pointed over to Mikey Victor, so I'm not sure if that was Del Pettis' job or Marcellus Dial's. Either way, Dial should be screaming over there to make sure, because who did he pass to? Marcellus Dial. He passed to the receiver. Marcellus Dial ended up covering. So regardless of if it should have been Victor over there or Dial, Dial's responsible for the touchdown. Christian Gonzalez, who has not been as good as people would think he was all preseason at practice. He was letting up a pretty good amount of catches to our receivers, and we know how subpar our receivers are. In the game, let up a catch to John Ross that honestly wasn't too bad of coverage. Kenny Pickett made a great throw, but still, you're going against a receiver that just retired and came back. Again, got absolutely torched down the sideline by John Ross. And John Ross has one of the fastest 40 times of all time at the Combine. So to get burnt down the sideline by someone, if it is John Ross, that's not the worst thing. But still, again, a guy that was tired because he just couldn't do anything in the NFL. Now back, and he's burning your number 1 cornerback, who's supposed to be at least top 10 in the NFL. Not a good look for Christian Gonzalez. He will play next week, and hopefully he makes up for it. Continuing to go with the Patriots versus the Commanders. Gerard Mayo said everyone that is healthy will play. I don't get that. Why are you playing the starters? You know who the starters are going to be. I don't think they need more reps against the Commanders, who probably aren't going to play their starters again. So I don't understand that. People are fighting for their spots on the roster, and there's a good amount of spots still up for grabs. Why not give them more playing time? Doesn't make sense to me, but that's what we're going to deal with. And I will say, I'm excited to see Drake May play more. I'm not going to deny that. But for me to play a lot of starters doesn't make sense. And Drake May, who is solidified at least as the backup quarterback, give more of a chance to Bailey Zappi and Joe Milton, who are fighting, presumably, for the quarterback 3 spot, with potentially one of them getting cut. So, it doesn't make sense. Kicking competition. It looks like it's been decided that Joey Sly is going to be our kicker. We'll see what Ryland does in this preseason game, but to me, Sly looks like the clear favorite, the better kicker. If you look at the stats, Sly's made a lot more kicks from 50 plus. Actually, last time I checked, he was perfect. Ryland is just really inconsistent, the same way he was last year. The return competition, probably the tightest competition out of all these rosters. And when you look at it, Wallace, yeah, he did muff that punt, but recovered and returned it well, and then had a nice 53-yard return. And then you have Rager. Hasn't really done anything too crazy. Has given you a couple of good returns, but hasn't done anything crazy. What he does have is breakaway speed. Wallace's 53-yard return, there was a wide open hole in the middle of the field. So it's not like he really was like dissecting the team, the defense, and picked right there. He just ran forward and it was wide open. But what if Rager did the same thing? Who's not to say he could have took that to the house with his speed? That is a clear advantage over Wallace. Also, both wide receivers, of course, but when it comes down to who can play wide receiver, Rager offers you more there. So, do I want David Wallace to make the team? Do I think that would be a great story? Of course. It was the same thing with Julian Edelman. That's what everyone is comparing Wallace to right now. But at the end of the day, I think Rager offers you a better spot or more versatility as a roster member. But I will say that competition still seems tight to me. If Wallace keeps returning like he has been, it's hard to deny that player a spot on the roster. Terrell Jennings, another guy I really want to see play a lot, and I think he will. He didn't get any carries in Game 2. I think the coaches wanted to see what Kevin Harris had to offer, and now I think it's going to be Terrell Jennings' turn. So we'll see what he can do when he gets a chance. At the end of the day, I think the Patriots end up going with Kevin Harris, but Terrell Jennings will stick around on our practice squad. Marcellus Dial, the guy I just talked about earlier in the episode, I think he's playing almost the whole game. And if he doesn't do well, he's getting cut. I don't even know if he'll make the practice squad, but he's going to be gone. If he balls out, then maybe he earns a spot to stay in New England. But Marco Wilson outplayed him against the Eagles. Marco Wilson earned his spot. Marcellus Dial, I'm going to need to see something out of you against the Commanders. Tyquan Thornton hasn't done diddly all preseason in the preseason games. Yeah, Tyquan, you make a bunch of plays in practice. I'm sick of the practice plays. Why don't you do it against a real NFL defense and show why you can compete against other teams, not just your own? And, okay, asterisks. We have a really great defense, but that doesn't win you games. That doesn't get you to the postseason. You got to go out there and win against other teams. Tyquan, I was rooting for you. You haven't done anything all preseason since the games have started. Let's see something out of you. Jaheim Bell really did well when Wilcox was out of practice this week. I think Jaheim's going to play a lot, and could potentially earn a spot over Mitchell Wilcox on the roster. At the end of the day, I would like to see him stashed on our practice squad if possible, and next year be a big contributor if he's not going to be this year. But Jaheim Bell is going to play a lot this week, and I think make a lot of good plays. Keep an eye out for him. Another guy, again, Vidarian Lowe. I don't want to talk about how bad he is, but Calvin Anderson. I need to see you do something well. Your only chance is to ball out and make it over Vidarian Lowe, which your odds are already very low, no pun intended, but that's your chance, Calvin, because we're not cutting Caden Wallace. We have Mike Onwenu to play tackle. We're not cutting a core for. Show me something, Calvin Anderson. Another close race. Armon Watts versus Tristan Hill. It looked like Armon Watts was going to be a solid contributor to our defense this year, and Jeremiah Farms stole that spot from Watts. And now it's Watts versus Tristan Hill. That might be a shocker. If you told me Watts would be cut a month ago, I would be surprised. We'll see. Christian Ellis, I think, has earned that final spot against a linebacker with Sione Takitaki going to start on the injured reserve. But Giles Harris and Chambers are still there. Have they shown a lot? I don't think so. But Christian Ellis is going to play in this game, and he's going to need to play well to solidify it. Joshua Bledsoe is going to make the team with Marte Mapu starting on IR, in my opinion, as well. But can Bledsoe produce enough to contribute after Marte Mapu returns? We'll see. I don't know if the Commanders are going to be playing their starters. Jaden Daniels, their rookie quarterback, number 2 overall drafted, who I've talked about before, just got named the starter. I don't think he's going to be playing. It'll be 3rd and 4th stringers, Jeff Driscoll and our old friend Trace McSorley going against each other at the quarterback position for the Commanders. Sam Hartman, an undrafted free agent quarterback out of Notre Dame, got injured, which is why they just brought in McSorley. So the Patriots, again, aren't going to be going against first stringers probably. But we will see what they have to offer. I can't wait to catch up and wrap this all up next week as preseason concludes. This has been Paul Talks Patriots on Dogs Media. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe. I will catch you next time.